Good afternoon. My name is Brian Hicks, Associate Athletic Director from Xavier. Welcome to Xavier today, and thank you for being here. I would like to introduce to my right, first of all, Brian Neal, head coach from Xavier University, Lisa Hill from the Cure Starts Now Foundation, Dan Benjamin, head coach from Mount St. Joe, and Steve Radcliffe, Athletic Director from Mount St. Joseph's University. First, I want to say that it was an honor for us to host last year's game. And on behalf of Xavier University, we're very excited to play host to the first annual Lauren Hill Tipoff Classic. I would like to thank Lisa Hill and the Hill family, the staff at the Cure Starts Now, and other representatives from each of the four institutions involved in the Tipoff Classic this Saturday. I would like to also give special thanks to the Big East Conference and Fox Sports Ohio for broadcasting both games on Saturday, especially for those fans that are unable to join us for this special day on Saturday. Saturday will be a great day. We will play two games between four great schools and pay tribute to a wonderful young woman. Lauren was, and still is, an inspiration to all of us, and we believe that there is no better way to start a basketball season than playing the Lauren Hill Tipoff Classic. Xavier will play Evansville at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and Mount St. Joe and Hiram will follow shortly thereafter. We expect a crowd of over 3,000, and we have 5,000 Lauren Hill bobblehead dolls, so our hope is that all will be distributed, enabling us the opportunity to raise funds for pediatric cancer research. At this point, I'll open the floor for questions. Thank you.
I have a question. I'm assuming Mr. Radcliffe, you could answer this, but it's for anyone. How did this come to be? How did this Tipoff Classic become?
Well, I think, in my recollection, the first conversation that occurred around this concept was during the first game that we played here last year on November 2nd. Greg Christopher and I had the conversation right back there on the loading dock. I don't think it took shape or form for a while after that, but that's where the first conversation occurred for. I think we met in substance about it a couple times during the year. Probably it started to take most of its shape, I would guess, in June, I'm thinking. But yeah, we were thinking of this for a while.
Hey, Dan, could you just speak to what this is like for your players to come back here? I imagine it's exciting and also emotional to come back to this place.
Yeah, I think Friday I can have a better answer on that because we're going to come in here and do a walkthrough between 8 and 10 in the morning, and I know the ride over will be very emotional for my players. This week's been pretty emotional for them. We had every Saturday we give a special number 22 jersey to a player who's lived up to what Lauren would call never give up and playing hard. She always was teasing us on the bench when she couldn't play. She's like, "Coach, they're not playing hard enough." I said, "Can you tell them that?" But so Saturdays is our special day, and they knew that this week was going to be a great week for us going into this game. And we gave out 2 jerseys, and one of them went to a very special young lady, Erica Walsh, who had some struggles last year herself, and she was honored this week to be wearing that number 22 jersey in practice. So the girls are pretty excited. I know my seniors are going to struggle a lot getting in here and shooting and everything we went through emotionally last year from the tip-off of the game to watching her fulfill her dream and letting us help be a part of her voice to be loud and proud. I know we'll be pretty excited on Friday when we walk in.
Lisa, can you talk about the impact of this game and what you think of having a Tipoff Classic in Lauren's honor?
I think it's amazing. I'm so thankful for Xavier, Mount St. Joe, Hiram, even Evansville to come in and play this year, and the NCAA for allowing us to have it and kick off the whole season in a game that Lauren really loved and she wanted to play all 4 years of college. So, to continue on and kick off the season, I think is a tremendous honor, and I know it from our family. We're just really touched that we can continue her legacy and fulfill the awareness and raise money for research and have some fun while we do it and play some basketball.
Brian, do you remember
how the game got here in the first place last year?
I think originally Greg Christopher reached out to Steve after hearing the story first, and from there it was very quickly put together. I want to say in the span of maybe 2 weeks' time.
It went fast.
We were able to get the game here, pull the broadcast together, and sell 10,250 tickets. So I think it all originated very quickly and initially with a conversation with Steve.
Yeah, I would say that's probably true. It all happened overnight, to be honest with you.
It did.
When the story aired, that we all remember it. I know I had calls that night. I think Coach Benjamin had a call from Coach Mack and others, and then I had a phone message from Greg Christopher the morning I got to my office, and it just happened very quickly, and of course the public didn't know how quickly it occurred because it probably took a few days to get things in place before they all knew what was going to happen, but it all started happening that evening of that story when it aired in October sometime. I can't remember what the date was.
October 13th.
Yeah, and then they had to come and ask Lauren whether she wanted to play on Mount St. Joe's home court or if she'd be willing to move to a bigger venue, and she, of course, obliged and didn't think anybody should miss it. So here we were at Xavier.
Brian, were any of your players at last year's game, and what do they think about playing the doubleheader?
Well, we were all here, and I think they're very excited. They're on. I know we're humbled to be a part of this in any way, and this was in my lifetime the most powerful, inspirational story I've ever seen. And that day, I can't put things into words of how cool that was to see that. And the way I think we saw it with our team is that Lauren she loved basketball. She wanted to play. I think that was what. And so I think we want to use this as a visibility, for the cure and raising money and all those things. But I think of all the young girls out there who haven't even picked up a ball yet, and maybe this is a way to spark some enthusiasm at a grassroots level for the sport. And this is for all the right reasons and why people should play sports, and women's basketball in particular.
Dan, Hiram has been a key part of all of this. Can you just speak, I know you know their coach, speak to the role that they have played in making all this happen?
Well, obviously, first of all, stepping in, and it was a away game for us last year, and they decided they wanted to come down here and help Lauren fulfill her dream and her mission right here on this floor. But Coach Hayes and her team has been really great to us. Everything we wanted, she was willing to do. The one thing I'll remember last year when she said, "Hey, Coach, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize this is what it was all about until I got here." So they're really great to us, but we got a special bond with Hiram. We had team dinner last year. We're getting ready to do it again this Friday, and we're excited. In fact, they're coming over Friday to practice on our floor Friday afternoon, then meet us for dinner, which is kind of unheard of. But we got a special bond. I know a lot of the girls exchanged phone numbers when we were up there and surprised them at one of their games. We happened to be up that way and took about a 45-minute trip over there with our boss after our game, and gave them some special gifts, if you will, that the kids had made and we had purchased, and they exchanged numbers, and a lot of them stay in touch to this day. And it's typical, hey, how you doing, good stuff, and then now it's hey, we're bringing it this year. So Coach Hayes and I laugh about that, but it's great to see that bond, and we can't thank them enough, and then we're glad that they're our opponent again this year.
Lisa, can you talk about the bond with Hiram?
It's really sweet because I really don't think they knew what they were getting into until they got here. But just to watch them, even the piece that spun it and went towards Hiram on CBS, I think it was such a fascinating story to take a glimpse on their feelings afterwards or being a part of that game. Like I said, they probably were going to bring it and be competitive like a normal team, but didn't expect it to be as emotional or a lot of life lessons tied in there that they took away from it, which is kind of humbling and honorable that Lauren was able to touch them. And to have them come back this year and agree to be here is just amazing. And it's a genuine kind of bond. The girls, well, even the Mount St. Joe girls are like a bunch of daughters. They're extended, so I've kept in touch with a lot of them, and they show up a lot to Nathan and Aaron's events. But it'll be nice to see the Hiram girls since I haven't seen them since the memorial service.